My father once threw a crisp $100 bill at my feet and told me that was the full measure of my worth. 10 years later, I walked back into the boardroom he worshipped, this time as the CEO of the company quietly buying out his entire empire. He didn't recognize me at first. But when he did, his whole world shifted. And it all started with that single $100. If you've ever been underestimated, if someone has ever looked you in the eye and decided you weren't enough, hit that subscribe button. Like the video, drop a comment, and get ready for a story where success wasn't just earned. It was built from the ground up, with nothing but pain, persistence, and a dream everyone else called impossible. Let's begin. My father always believed a man's value could be calculated like a balance sheet. Assets, liabilities, net worth. And on the day I left home, he decided I was worth exactly $100. The bills fluttered onto the marble floor of our mansion like discarded confetti. He didn't hand them to me, he threw them. A final gesture of disappointment. There, he sneered. That's all a failure like you deserves. His words didn't land like insults. They landed like memories of every time he reminded me that Harrison men became investment bankers, not engineers. That success wore a suit, not safety goggles. That innovation was foolish unless it came with guaranteed profit. I was 22, freshly graduated, alone. My parents hadn't even shown up for my ceremony. Their seats remained empty, just like every promise of pride they had ever made. My mother lingered by the staircase that morning, martini glass in hand even though it wasn't noon. James, darling, just come back to the family firm. Your father can fix this. You don't need to throw your life away. I looked at her, and for the first time in my life, I saw her clearly. Her jewelry was loud, but her voice was always quiet unless she needed to impress someone. Her smiles never reached her eyes. No, Mother, I whispered. I'm done trying to be what you want. My father's face flushed the familiar shade of anger I grew up fearing. Then get out. You're no longer a Harrison. The trust fund, the connection's gone. You walk away, you're nothing. Maybe that should have broken me. Maybe it would have, a year earlier. But instead, I bent down, picked up the $100, and slipped it into my wallet. Keep the trust fund, I said. I'll build something of my own. He laughed, a sharp, hollow sound echoing through the halls lined with portraits of men who measured their lives by dollar signs. You? Build something? You can barely dress yourself properly. I should have been shaking. But I wasn't. Because inside, for the first time ever, something felt steady. Watch me, I said. And I walked out of that mansion with a suitcase, a laptop, and a dream everyone believed was ridiculous. The $100 start. Outside the iron gates, those same gates that had always swung open automatically for our luxury cars, I realized something absurd. I had no car, no apartment, no income, no family. Just $50 left after buying a bus ticket to Silicon Valley and a cheap burger that tasted like freedom and fear at the same time. In that greasy diner, with buses rumbling in and out, I wrote 3 promises to myself. I would never use the Harrison name for gain. I would build something that mattered. When I returned, it would be on my own terms. Those promises became my compass. Silicon Valley wasn't the glamorous tech utopia I imagined. My first night, I slept on a park bench with my laptop bag under my head. My breath fogged in the cold. Every noise made me sit up. Every shadow felt like danger. The next morning, a barista stared at me for a long moment as I nursed a single cup of coffee and tried to stretch it for hours while using their Wi-Fi. You're gonna get robbed sleeping out there, she finally said. Her name was Maya. And she didn't look at me with judgment. She looked at me like she understood. When the espresso machine jammed again, she sighed dramatically and said, "If you can fix this thing, you can sleep in our storage room. Deal?" I fixed it in 20 minutes. The owner hired me part-time on the spot. That cafe became my home. Literally. At night, I slept between bags of coffee beans. During the day, I worked maintenance and saved every penny. And in the quiet evenings, I sketched out the energy storage system I believed could change the future. Maya would bring leftover pastries, sit beside me, and point at my sketches. So, a better battery? She asked. Not exactly, I said. Batteries waste energy. My design almost doesn't. She frowned. And no one else is doing this because they think it's impossible, I said. And for the first time, someone didn't laugh. She just nodded thoughtfully. That means you're onto something. 3 months later, I could afford a tiny rented room shared with 5 other dreamers. It smelled like burnt ramen and ambition. I worked at the cafe, freelanced as a tech consultant, and, through a lucky introduction from a client, met Dr. Sarah Wong at Stanford. She grilled me for 6 hours straight, hunting for flaws. Finally, she leaned back and said, "It's bold. Maybe unreal. But if you're right, this could change the world. I can get you lab access at Berkeley." That night, I cried quietly in the cafe's storage room, tears I hadn't let myself feel in years. Not from sadness, but because for once, someone believed in me. For a full year, I worked 4 jobs, barely slept, lived off caffeine and determination. Then at 3 a.m. one night, the prototype lit up with numbers that didn't make sense. 98.7% energy efficiency. Nearly perfect transfer. I checked the data again. And again. My hands trembled so hard I had to sit down. It worked. The thing everyone said was impossible, it worked. Dr. Wong verified it. David, a startup founder I'd helped earlier, helped me create a pitch. Maya stayed up every night practicing with me, pushing me, encouraging me. But 2 VC firms rejected me instantly. Too risky. Too young. Too unknown. The third one listened. Alexander Martinez looked at me for a long time and finally said, "Why should we trust you?" My voice didn't shake when I answered. "Because I've spent the last year proving impossible things are possible. Give me the chance to prove it again." He did. They invested $5 million for 25% of what I named Nova Energy Systems, a quiet tribute to the star I wished I could become. The rise. The next years felt like living in fast forward. A small team became a big team. A prototype became a product. A product became an industry shift. When our first commercial system hit 99.1% efficiency, almost triple the nearest competitor, the energy world erupted. Suddenly, renewable energy wasn't just idealistic. It was superior. Economical. Practical. Companies lined up. Governments called. Journalists begged for interviews. 3 years after the VC investment, Nova Energy Systems went public. My stake? Worth over $100 million on the first week. I bought my first nice suit, not because I needed to, but because it was time. Planning to impress someone? Maya joked, helping me choose. No, I smiled. I think I'm going home. I hadn't seen my family in 5 years. But I'd heard enough to know their company was collapsing. Old school investment banking was dying. They refused to modernize. And a mysterious tech-focused investment firm was preparing to take them over. That firm, Digital Horizon Capital, was mine. A subsidiary of Nova. I didn't want revenge. Not really. I wanted closure. I wanted to show them what their $100 had sparked. When I walked into the Harrison boardroom, no one recognized me. Not the executives. Not the board members. Not even my father. Until I spoke. "Harrison and Sons will not survive another 5 years," I said calmly. "Isn't that right, Father?" His head snapped up. The color drained from his face. "James." "Hello, Father." Shock. Recognition. Fear. Pride? Regret? I couldn't tell. "I'm here on behalf of Digital Horizon Capital," I continued. "We own 45% of your stock. And the majority of your debt." He stammered. You left with nothing." "No," I said gently. "I left with $100. And the lesson you meant to teach me." Murmurs filled the room. Someone whispered my company's name. Nova Energy Systems. "You built Nova?" my father croaked. "I did. Without a trust fund. Without your name. Without a single thing you valued. The offer was simple. Harrison and Sons would be absorbed into my company. The family name retired. The board dissolved. My father removed permanently. He tried to fight. But every escape route was already severed. 24 hours later, he signed the papers with trembling hands. And the empire that once rejected me became part of the one I built. After the final documents were signed, my father approached me. There was no anger left in him. Just something softer. Something breakable. "You planned this," he said quietly. "All of it." "No," I replied. "I didn't plan revenge. I planned a future. You're the one who made it personal." "Are you going to destroy everything?" he whispered. I shook my head. "No. I'm going to build something better. Something that actually matters." I left him standing in that boardroom, the same spot where he'd once thrown $100 at my feet. Months later, he mailed me something. The same $100. The exact bills. With a note. "You are worth more than I knew." I took those bills to the same cafe where everything began. Where Maya still worked, now as a senior executive in Nova. I left the $100 as a tip. Some people call what I did revenge. But it wasn't. It was rebuilding a broken legacy into something that could finally stand for good. People say money can't buy happiness. But sometimes, money reveals truth. That $100 taught me who I wasn't and who I could become. Success wasn't the revenge. Becoming the man I was meant to be was. If you felt that journey, if you've ever been underestimated or told your dreams were worthless, hit that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe for more stories where justice comes full circle. And tell me in the comments, what's the moment that made you say, "Watch me"?